I'm currently at a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, and I started, I would say in the 8, 9 range on June 17th, after a surgery, unrelated surgery to anything around my brain or ears. I discovered I had tinnitus, and it was really debilitating.
My tinnitus at its worst was probably a 7 or an 8 out of 10, and today, it's between a 3 and a 5.
But then one night just doing dishes, my ears just all of a sudden just went and just went, I mean, I don't know, from maybe 50 times the volume. I mean, it was extremely loud. And it got to a point where it was difficult to do day-to-day tasks, just to think normally, to work. Especially being in quiet spaces was extremely difficult. Sleeping, I mean, you name it. It messed my life up.
Hey guys, it's Dr. Ben. Quick word. We just launched 2 physical locations, 2 new tinnitus clinics with Treble Health. And it's all because of you, people like you who watched our videos and spread the word that there is help for tinnitus. I'm so excited to announce that right now, starting July 1st, you can see in-person audiologists from Treble Health. We're launching with San Francisco, California, and South Florida in location Weston, which is west of Fort Lauderdale. So if you live in the greater Northern California area, or if you live in Florida, I would highly encourage you to look at our website, treblehealth.com, and go under the locations. You can see the 2 clinics and what we offer. If you're someone who needs help for tinnitus, you're watching this because you need advice. You're looking for a solution. You need to identify, what is the cause of this tinnitus? What can I do about it? Absolutely. We are here to help. If you or anyone you know could benefit from this, connect my team with them and come visit us in San Francisco or South Florida. I'll include the links below for you to go on our webpage and learn more about our doctors and our locations. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
The first few months, I couldn't drive my car, I couldn't read. I lost 20 pounds, in those 2 months. I, really struggled, couldn't watch TV. I would pace around the island in my kitchen, just waiting for the brief moments when I would get a little bit of a break or a shift in the tinnitus, but it was absolutely debilitating, and was unable to take care of my children at some points in that time as well.
Well, it started in November of 2021. My father had just passed away in late October, and, I had to go 1,200 miles to take care of his business and make several trips, and I think, hearing that your father's died and that basically everything's on your shoulders, that creates a lot of stress, and, so I was dealing with that, but then when I, got back from the first trip, I felt tired, but didn't realize I was about to be hit with something that I didn't know how to handle, and of course, that was tinnitus, and I remember one night, I just I felt this whooshing in my neck, and it came up through my head, and really, we talk about it being in our ears, but mine was more in my head at first, and then I realized it was in both my ears, and I knew what it was because I had had tubes in my ears when I was young, and I had tinnitus briefly after that, but it went away. So and it was a high-pitched sound, it wasn't anything like this. But this started to change. On the 2nd day, it was a different sound. The 3rd day, it was a little higher and a little louder, and then the low tones came in, and so I would sit up at night in my chair just listening for whatever sound might be next. I was in such a not a panic, I would say just a state of, almost shock, really. It was like, "What's happening?" And it was scary. I understand when people talk about the fear factor in all this because I certainly felt it. And it took several days of me sitting up at night, not eating, just kind of in an altered state for me to call my general practitioner and go in and see him. And he diagnosed it as a grief reaction.
I didn't know where to go or what was happening. At the time I didn't relate it to COVID at all. I just thought it was bad luck, and like, oh my gosh, this is something's happening here. The ringing in my ears is just decided to go bonkers.
I went to the original doctor that did the surgery, and she said, "I don't know. You need to see an ENT. I'm not sure what's happening." I did have low iron, so I don't know if that's part of the cause or not. But I just quit trying to research that. Then I was on a wait list for an ENT for 3 weeks, and I went into the ENT, and he said, "Oh, that's too bad. Strange things happen," quote unquote. He said, "There's nothing I can do for you. I'll do a hearing test," which I have no hearing loss from that test. And he said, "You could think about an MRI, but I wouldn't recommend one right now." So I walked away feeling completely defeated. And that's when I turned to the internet and just started Googling random, just trying to find anything out I could. But I was just hitting dead ends.
I thought I'll go to a doctor who's the neurologist I had heard about to find out if I have some things going on that, that may be fixable that are contributing to this. And boy, I'll tell you, I was gobsmacked because, some people get dealt a card. I had a royal flush because he told me I had TMJ. I had a dehiscence of the sigmoid sinus, which I had no idea what that was. And I also had eustachian tube dysfunction, cervical spinal issues, all of these things. On top of that, my slight hearing loss may or may not have something to do with that. So he gave me some prednisone because it was still early enough in the whole process that he thought that may help the eustachian tube dysfunction. But beyond that, he really didn't have any answers for me. So it was discouraging, to say the least.
First step was ENT doctor. Yeah. And yeah, I didn't go to Dr. Google for a little while, but yeah. So where I was living, we have a good hospital over there. And so I decided to go there first. And being that it was during COVID, apparently they were going through some pretty major staffing issues. Yet they did see me, and I did do an ear test, and I could hear just fine, and they said everything was fine. You can hear just fine, but we're gonna give you a call in a few days or so, and the audiologist wants to talk to you. So I said, okay. A few days passed, no call. I was waiting anxiously because it was just affecting my day-to-day living. And so I called them, and anyways, we went back and forth for a little bit. Apparently their audiologist quit before I even did the hearing test. And so that kind of frustrated me. I'm originally from Houston, and there's a good, the Texas Medical Center is down there. So I decided to kind of seek out a known professional, and I said, okay, well, let me kill two birds with one stone, go visit some family and seek out another audiologist and see if I can find one. First of all, I don't know. I just know that Houston has a lot of doctors. So I did find one. She was, pretty expensive. She had very high credentials. She had much, much better equipment than the one that I previously went to. And so as far as equipment wise and the types of tests and treatments she was talking about were by far, it was, all new to me. So the other place did not say anything in those regards at all.
I did find an audiologist that I talked into ordering a masker that I had found online. He had never programmed one before and didn't know how to function or how to use it. So I did buy one ear device for my right ear, and I was working with him on his own computer trying to program it. And I'm not an audiologist by any means. So that was also unsuccessful for the most part. And that's when I finally found, through an internet search, Treble Health. I first did the free consultation, and I called in, and I was expecting another dead end, and I was shocked she got me in right away. I think it was that afternoon. And I was like, wow. And then I was on a 4-month wait list here. There's one clinic here that does it, but it's on a 4 to 6 month wait list. So she got me in right away, and we could talk instantly, which was so neat. And she was the first person to give me hope. She was the first person to explain that it could get better. And I hadn't even heard the word or processed the word habituation. I had really was in a dark place, thinking there was no hope. So I walked away from that first 15-minute, I think it was, phone call, completely different even from then, because I had hope. So I could start shifting that perspective. So extremely helpful from right on. And then we started working together weekly.
And I started looking online, and I ran into Treble Health on YouTube, and I started watching interviews like these where people actually, were talking about how they'd been in a dark place like I was, and they'd gone through TRT, they cognitive behavioral therapy, and lo and behold, a few months later, they had their life back. And I think that's what's important for people to remember, is that you can get your life back. I really didn't think I could, or wondered if I could anyway. I guess because I'm an optimist, I always thought I would.
Yeah. So they gave me a couple tests and didn't do so well on those ones. And the next step was extremely expensive treatment, and that was basically a tinnitus masker, and that was basically it. And I thought there had to be another solution, so that's when I started going to Dr. Google. And I found you, and I believe it was on YouTube, and started looking at some of the stories, kind of like this one. So hopefully this help some people out. And but yeah, so I was doing a lot more research, and at this point, yeah, it was driving me crazy. I mean, it was mentally not good, mentally challenging, and affecting work, affecting a lot of things, and also depressing. It was too much. So I needed something, and found you guys, and yeah, that's when I gave you a call, and I'm glad I did.
I go from my sound therapy at night to the maskers, and then I go to the gym. So they're just really small. I'm sure you guys have seen them. They're just really small hearing aid like devices that you put in. I don't even notice them now. I've gotten in the shower twice with them on. So I mean, it's gotten to a point where I don't feel them at all. But I also have at night I use the Sound Oasis machine and the headbands that you had. Dr. Tracy had suggested they have earbuds in the headbands. And I also have pillows, sleep sound pillows, speakers. But I leave them in. I wake up, I put them in, and I leave them in all day until I go to sleep.
I think the actually getting the ear level sound generators was key. I think that is more than anything contributing to what I'm seeing. Meditation. I've watched your meditation challenges, and I've done those, and I think you should do those every day if you can. And even walking meditation. I went online and I looked at walking meditation because I love to go out and walk, but you can do that too. And I've been doing that. So the ear level sound generators, the walking meditation, the Dr. Ben challenges meditation. Um, and I tell myself constantly, tinnitus is not important. This signal is neutral. It's not important. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to damage me. I tell myself that every day over and over. And I find that that helps too. I have to remind myself, and people should do that who are dealing with tinnitus, because it is a neutral signal. It's not something that's going to do something horrendous to you.
So I was reluctant, I'm just being honest. I was definitely reluctant, and 'cause I was just reading so many articles, so many things like, no, it's never going to go down. You're stuck with it. There's no treatment for it. It's too new of an issue. People are really starting to have more issues with it ever since COVID. So I did realize that that is kind of something that's happening. And so yeah, but I decided to go forward, do it, and I received the tinnitus maskers, which really helped out a lot, and I was also listening to some white noise before going to bed. That really helped me put myself to sleep. And another thing that I just kind of did on my own, which I thought was good, was acupuncture. I did find somebody to do acupuncture, and he actually put needles around my ears, which I wasn't sure if it was going to help or not. If anything, it was relaxing. I don't know if it helped. So just relaxing, breathing, being more conscious, aware of your surroundings, taking the time to relax, and just you know, just take some breaths, you know, as frustrating as this can be. You know, just the mind, I guess, just works in mysterious ways. So just kind of calming it down, having the tinnitus maskers, relying on you guys for guidance, knowing that I'm not alone, and being able to talk to others really helped out a lot.
At first, I had a hard time because we don't want to mask completely. But leaving the tinnitus noise kind of there. I struggled with that right away, but then you fall into a groove. But yeah, it is lowering. I'll have 2 or 3 days in a row now where I'll say it doesn't bother me, right? Like it's there every once in a while, but it's not debilitating. It's not bothering me. And I'll have larger gaps of time where I'll like, oh, it's been like 4 hours and I haven't felt that anxiety feeling about it. So that's been absolutely miraculous. So that's happened in the last since I've been wearing the maskers.
I think that I'm less aware of it now. I actually think that the volume has diminished a little bit in all this. You know, it's hard to say because I have several different things going on. And when you have several different sounds, you're like, well, which one is softer, you know? But I actually think that the volume has decreased. I know that I'm not having as many flare ups. And when I do have one, it doesn't take me a week to get over it. It may take a few hours or maybe a day.
So I do still utilize my tinnitus maskers. It's not every day like I used to. It's every once in a while. Like you said, I mean, I'm kind of curious how far down I can get it. And not only that, it's not just curiosity. It's just sometimes I have to, you know. But it's nowhere near where it was. And I definitely sleep still. I like having the white noise, or I think technically it's the pink noise. Whenever I go to sleep, I still do that every single night. It just helps me go to sleep. Going to concerts, I did go to a concert for the first time a few weeks ago, and I will admit my tinnitus spiked tremendously. And it took about 4 days or so for it to get back to normal. So I did use my tinnitus maskers again. I got nervous again. You know, I was a bit anxious and was hopeful that it would go back down. Thankfully, it did. So I would definitely be cautious about going to loud events. And I love music. I love it. Love going to concerts. So yeah, just having those earplugs even in your pocket, if you don't want to use them, at least take them with you. You know, I'm definitely going to start doing that. And utilizing those in the future.
I just want to say thank you to Treble Health and what you're doing. My family thanks you. And if I can help even one person not live in the misery I did for those few months this summer, then it's absolutely worth it. And you're innovative and I'm appreciative. So thank you.
I think when you go to some of the chat boards and the forums and these dark rooms where people cluster and talk about their experience with tinnitus, when you're going to Dr. Google, you know, first, as you warn people not to, you can really do yourself a lot of damage. And I think those places have to be infiltrated, and that sounds kind of sinister, but I think that they do have to be penetrated, infiltrated with positivity and hope and Treble Health. And I am more than delighted to play a part in that. Anything I can do, because I've seen those boards and they're horrendous. I mean, talk about triggering, but just people stay away from those really, because the people that are there have thrown in the towel in a lot of cases, and they're just going to bring you down. So that would be my advice there.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Penn. I really appreciate everything that you and your team has done for me. And yeah, let everybody know that I'm not paid to be doing this. So yeah, I just want to help other people out there. Hopefully, you know, if you're struggling with it, you know, Dr. Ben and your team have done a very great job, and are all very honest and down to earth, and have helped me a lot.